Hello, everybody. Welcome. It's Kyle, the Sens guy, with another Sens fan podcast for March. No, not March. It's April. April 5th, 2017. It's been a while since I've done one. We went through so many games and such a whole range of emotion. The last game I did was the Pittsburgh game. And since then, we've gone through a pretty down moments in our and then it's just risen back up again. Anyways, let's go through the games. On the 25th of March, when I made the last video, we lost 3-1 to Montreal in Montreal. The boys just couldn't get anything going, and I do believe that was also when Mark Mathot got injured. That's been the story this past week. We've been going through a lot of injuries. Then we went to Philadelphia. We lost and that was a shootout loss, I thought. Overtime loss. I think it is. They don't really say it on the... Let me just double check. I do believe that was an overtime loss to Philly. We played really good, and that was the infamous bad goal by Anderson. Let me just double check. It was a shootout. Okay. So we lost in the shootout. There's that infamous bad goal that Anderson gave up the puck and gave it away. Minnesota, that game was just... And at this point in time, when this game, we had lost 3 games in a row. I actually had audio made. I just forgot to make a video just because I got really busy around this time. and what happened was everyone was just like, throw Condon in net. Throw Condon in net. So anyways, we had lost 3-1 to Montreal, 3-2 in a shootout to Philadelphia, and 5-1 to Minnesota. And this is all on the road, right? So everyone was just like throwing Anderson on the bus. Oh, Anderson's been playing crappy. Oh, it's all Anderson's fault. It's like, and around that time, I do believe Philadelphia game, Carlson got injured. And Burrows got injured around this time. It's so hard to keep track of all the injuries that just happened. It's just crazy. This has been like the story of this past chunk of time. It's been all about injuries. Mathot got injured, I do believe, against Montreal. Then Carlson got injured against Philadelphia. We lost Burrows around this time too. It's absolutely nuts. And it was going to Winnipeg, and they played. I didn't quite exactly watch the game. I was busy all day. But I did see that it was a back and forth action, and Winnipeg, I guess, just schooled Ottawa in the last period. I didn't quite watch that game. So that was a 4-2 loss, and that was with Condon in net. So none of my predictions came true score-wise. But anyways, let's keep going. Then we had our back-to-back games against Detroit. I told you I was possibly going to miss out on some of these games. So anyways, so the first game in Detroit was a 5-4 shootout loss, which, I gotta give it to you. Both goaltenders played pretty crappy. There's a lot of crappy goals that went in that game. But, it's showing a lot of signs that, and judging from that game, I was like, you know what, the Senators are going to come back on the next game, and they're going to win it. They're going to win their game. And sure enough, they did. They came back last night and played a 2-0 win. Carlson was back against the Detroit game. And last night, we got Clark MacArthur back, which was unbelievable. And, I think that came out of nowhere. Like, first off, the Detroit game, everyone was just like, he wasn't coming on the trip. Everyone's like, okay, well, shucks, we're going to have to wait for him one more day at least. But no, he came back, and Carlson came back. And then Clark MacArthur, well, I was expecting him not to play at all this season. It's so weird because we've gone through so many. Colin White even got called up for a game too. He played his first game against Detroit in Detroit. So, and then he came around. Yeah, the whole Colin White thing. That's something we'll have to talk about too. There's so much that happened. Holy crap. Just gotta think about that. But anyways, let's just finish with the roundup. We won 2-0 last night. Inching our way closer to the playoffs. Now, as you know, for the standings right now, we are second place in the Atlantic Division with 94 points. We have the tiebreaker over Boston. Oh no, we only have it because of less games played. We still have 3 games, they only have 2. So, and it's a huge game on Thursday. If we can beat them, that would be huge. So anyways, we're at 94 points, 79 games. There's only 3 games remaining left on the season. Right now, if we start now, we would play against the Boston Bruins, who have clinched their playoff spot. Same as Montreal. Montreal's clinched their the division, which good for them. They can have a date with the New York Rangers. And like I was pretty close. I said like 3 weeks ago, 97 points, road to 97. That's what it's always been. We only need 1 point, guys. 1 point to clinch the playoff spot, or it's either 1 point from us, or Islanders need to lose 1 game any fashion, or Tampa Bay need to lose 1 game any fashion. So any of those 3 happen in the next 3 games or a couple games, that New York Islanders and Tampa Bay have to both lose their games. Then we can clinch our playoff spot. And that's why a lot of people were confused. It's like, oh, why is Boston clinched in and we're still ahead of them in the standings? It's weird when you look at it, which I'm going to take this picture so you could take a look at that. And it's going to be on the video. You can see, yeah, we're ahead of Boston right now only because of the less games. But if we were at 80, they'd be above us right now because of the the regulation and overtime wins. Because once you go to shootout, your wins come a little bit different. See, with Ottawa has won. It looks like in total 5 games in the shootout, where Boston's only won 2. So the row would be much greater for Boston. So that's why this Thursday game is going to be really important. Anyway, so yeah, we're just gotta go through a whole bunch of stuff that just happened. Whew. So yeah, Montreal. We had our little doubts after the Montreal game, and I think the Philadelphia game kind of improved a little bit. I think that made me feel a lot better, honestly. Like the Philadelphia game, Minnesota game, guys, Carlson injury. We all had injuries. That's been the major thing this week. Like I wish I could. Wonder if I can find something that goes through all the injuries we had, because I know Carlson is injured, Burrows is injured at some point in time. We also had Mathot's injured. Smith is injured. It's been absolutely crazy with just all these injuries. It's unbelievable. But yeah, so some of the big news that happened this week. Overall, Colin White was signed. First off, he was signed to an AHL tryout, just to see how things go. But I think once Zach Smith got injured, I think that kind of opened the window. Okay, we can put Colin White in there. I think Colin White is ready. He can go in and he played against Detroit. In Detroit, and everyone was kind of a little upset. Oh yeah, Bobby Ryan's injured too. Everyone's a little upset that he didn't play the second game, but that's because Clark MacArthur's coming back and Dzingle's going in Bobby Ryan's spot. It's just a revolving door of injuries constantly with the boys right now. It's absolutely crazy to think. So, So yeah, right now the magic number is 1. So, the magic number is 1. We just need 1 point in the next 3 games, or New York Islanders and Tampa Bay to lose 1 game in any fashion. So it doesn't matter if they get 1 point, but they can't earn any more points, because they can earn 6 points and they'd be tied with us, and the regulation win overtime. Or wait, I just realized something. If they win in a shootout, we'd still beat them. But that would also mean if we lose all our games. But that's only if we lose all our games. We'd still, if they win a shootout, it's just looking at all of it, it's crazy. I can't believe how close it is. Like, how close is this far into it and everything? Like, I think by Thursday, by the weekend, it's already going to be decided. Like, the West is already locked and done. Like, the West already has their teams selected. They're just getting the seedings done. But not so much for the East. And actually, when you look at it this year, looking at the points, it looks like the East is stronger than the West. In points wise, you know? Maybe the top teams in the Pacific have a bit more points right now than the top teams in the Atlantic. But the Metropolitan has been like the dominant division. This is going to be good. I'm excited for the playoffs, and we're going to have more likely have Senator playoff hockey. It's going to be crazy to think. So yeah, another issue that was coming up this week is everyone was like, I put this onto fan sites on Facebook, and throughout all of the sites, everyone was throwing Anderson under the bus. And let me tell you guys, that is just not right. Anderson has been playing his hardest. When we don't have Carlson is a huge part of our game, but also lose Mathot too. Like, if Carlson was gone and Mathot was in, I think we'd still be able to do it defensively. We just need other people to step up offensively. But without Carlson and without Mathot, that kind of leaves in question. However, I will say last night's game and even the game before, Ben Harper and Clayson have been stepping up very nicely. That makes me excited for the defensive future for the Ottawa Senators. And we have Tom Chabot also. And I heard that they were actually trying to call him up, but they couldn't quite get it done because I think they were only allowed to have 8 defensemen in the system, and they already had their 8, so they would have had to wait for one more player to be injured in order to call up Tom Chabot. Let's go into the preview for the next games. Boston, let's hope for a season sweep. Make everything a lot better. But then there's also, I want Boston's the game we need to win. I really want Boston to, I want Ottawa to play Boston so badly in the series. I would love to eliminate Boston for 3 years in a row. The past 2 years, like I said, I've been saying it before. It'd be awesome for Ottawa to play Boston and have a good series. Then we have games against the 2 New Yorks. Let's see, I'm just going to take a quick look back. I want to see how we've done against the New York teams. We beat New York Islanders 3-0 in February. That's the last game. Let's see, where's the New York Rangers? I haven't played the New York Rangers since December, I don't think. Is that right? I thought we played them last month. No, we did not. Oh, okay. Well, we lost 4-3 against them. We've had New York Islanders numbers for pretty much the majority of the season. Just judging from the way it looks. Yeah, we've been playing really good against the New York Islanders. Rangers have been close. Okay, I'm just looking at the schedule. And it looks like we're 2-0 against New York Islanders. And we are 1-1 against the New York Rangers. But I thought maybe the New York Ranger game was overtime. Let me just double check this. No, it was regulation. Okay. That's right. It was like a last minute goal or something like that. Or it was late in the third. Okay. Yeah, because Ottawa was up 3-1 and we blew it. I think I remember that game. Anyways, it doesn't really matter. But anyways, we had the date with the 2 New York teams. Rangers first and then Islanders last. Someone was telling me that if Ottawa loses both Boston and the Rangers game, and Islanders win both of their games, it will be the game on, and then Tampa Bay, let's just assume Tampa Bay loses. If that happens, the game against with New York Islanders would mean the winner of that game would get into the playoffs, which would be crazy to think. Actually, no, I think if Or no, it wouldn't. That wouldn't work out if Ottawa doesn't get a single point in that game. Then it would. But I think they're gonna seal the deal against Boston. So, anyways, I'm so hard to predict scores lately, but I'm gonna try it. Boston game. It's in Boston. Let's see. Last time we played Boston was in Boston 3-2. I think it's gonna be similar, like 3-1 game. I'm gonna say 3-1. New York Rangers. We've had close games with them all season long. I'm thinking 2-1 game against New York Rangers. It's an early morning game. I don't think that's gonna be an issue. And then Sunday, the last game of the season, it will be New York Islanders. No, I think it's going to be all out. I think New York's going to have all their team out. If Ottawa clinches, I think they're going to have they're going to be resting a lot of people for the playoffs. And I can predict, I think a 3-1 game also wouldn't be out of the question against New York Islanders. Yeah. So that's kind of my prediction. I'm predicting we're going to clinch our spot Thursday. Either shootout or I think we'll either get to overtime to clinch it or win the game. We always have good games against Boston, and I'm excited. That's why I'm super excited for a Boston series. And Ottawa hasn't played Boston in the playoffs. I don't think so. So it would be a really awesome series to have. Of course, I'm a fan. As long as for me, as long as Ottawa makes it in the wild card spot in the Atlantic Division, it'll be a good series. I'd love a series against Boston or Toronto. That's kind of where I stand on that. All right, so like I said, every week, like I did the last podcast, I'm going to do this again. The player of the podcast. We had a lot of good choices. Last time I chose Kyle Turris. He was just playing really good. I'm gonna choose our captain Erik Karlsson this week. He just performed really well this past week. He scored a lot of meaningful goals, even though he was injured and missed the game against Minnesota and Winnipeg. His games against Detroit just showed how impactful he was. Same with Philadelphia. It just showed how important Erik Karlsson is to this team. So Erik Karlsson gets the player of the week for me. Honorable mention will be Clark MacArthur for finally coming back, which is just exciting. And I think that's my honorable mention will be Clark MacArthur, just for making his way back and finally getting to play a game and having a pretty decent game too. So, anyways, guys, I'm predicting that the next game we are going to clinch our playoff spot. I will probably do a playoff primer after we get it all sealed and deal. So I think I'm going to wait till the end of the season, and I'll tell overall how I felt about the regular season. Maybe I might do something like that. I might talk about the regular season and everything. What it means as a Sens fan who's watched all their seasons, how this one feels. Anyways, I think the next video won't be till next week, maybe like Monday or Tuesday. The playoffs are gonna be started sometime. I don't know when that's gonna happen. Probably next week, I'd imagine. And I'm just excited because we're gonna have Senators playoff hockey. It's so nice to say that. Anyways, guys, that has been the podcast, and I will see you guys on the next one. Go Sens, go! Let's get ready for playoffs. I don't know. I was gonna say something else, but I forgot. Anyways, have yourself a good day, and I'll see you guys on the next podcast.